Hi, folks, and a good Monday morning to you. Brian Blessing with Todd Furman. A little recap of what happened in the NFL over the weekend, little look ahead, and, of course, a Monday night update. First things first, let's start with the Monday night football game, something we can do about this evening. Atlanta's a solid 3-point favorite. We're actually seeing a few 3.5s pop up. Total on the game has soared up to 52.5. And for a bookmaker, that's the kind of duck and run for cover thing that happens on a standalone Monday night game. The public already is going to bet the favorite in the over, Todd, and there's a legitimate opportunity. That's the way this thing goes.
There's no doubt about it. You look at these two teams with dynamic offenses. Sure, we saw the Broncos perform well against the Steelers last Sunday night and put up 31 points. First road test for Peyton Manning, leading the charge for this team. Atlanta looked dynamic on offense against Kansas City, and no reason to think they can't do the same thing. Although I wouldn't be surprised if the public decides to back the dog as we get closer to kickoff, therefore balancing the books out a little more than people anticipate.
Peyton Manning, a little bit of a chess match, see what he can do against the Falcons defense. Of course, Grimes will not be there, and that does give the cornerback for the Falcons, does give Manning some opportunities. Update, Roddy White is going to go. He's probable with the groin injury. But this is a good one, and don't lose sight of the fact what Matt Ryan and Mike Smith have done at home in their tenure.
There's no doubt about it. You look at Matt Ryan's track record on his home turf in the Georgia Dome. This guy just flat out wins. And when you're talking about only laying a field goal, I know there were plenty of Eagles backers who may felt a little bit differently yesterday, laying 2.5 and only not covering, I should say, with a 1-point win. A 3-point game here. Look for Atlanta to go out there, be as dynamic on offense, and really put on a show.
All right, let's talk about the weekend that was in week 2, the opportunities that present themselves with the overreactions after the opening week. We talked about Washington, had all that time to prepare Griffin for the game with the Saints. Different animals, short week. They come up short. Buffalo, everybody bailed on the Bills. They looked much, much better. The big one for me was the Jets. Todd, it was such an incredible overreaction to what happened in week 1. And you had a Pittsburgh team that absolutely needed the game. Yet all the money was on the Jets. It was so misguided.
It was one of those games you look at, and it reminded me of Thursday night where the Bears were opened as a 6-point dog, was bet all the way down to 4.5. Nobody could make sense of why this money was coming in on the road team. Similar results. The Steelers get down early, but battle back. That defense looked electric in the second half. Mark Sanchez completely out of sync. And obviously, all is well in the Steel City, at least for 1 week.
And the huge news of the weekend is a 13.5, 14-point dog. Arizona goes to Foxborough. They beat the Patriots. They are professional football teams. We always tell you that. It is not easy to cover a 2-touchdown impost. But now Arizona's back home hosting Philadelphia, and the Eagles are actually going to be 3.5-point favorites next week. And for Philly, it has not been pretty. But you know what, Todd? At the end of the day, it's impressive when you turn over the football like it's a hand grenade, but you still find ways to win games. That does say something.
There's no doubt about it. Philly's playmakers are getting the job done. You look at defensively what they've done the first 2 weeks. They're getting off the field on third down, and that is the hidden stat. 9 turnovers for 2 weeks, 2 games, each decided by 1 point. However, one thing to keep in mind, if you're not going to protect the football, it's going to make things tough to cover as a favorite this year.
That's a tough one to sort out, and we'll see if that number actually comes back down to 3. But you've got Arizona, one would think, sitting in an immense letdown spot, but Philadelphia has to deal with cross-country travel. Does that offset?
I think when you look at it, Arizona's momentum carries over into this game. This is a team now, 2 wins outright as dogs, beating Seattle at home, New England on the road. I can't imagine Philadelphia will be up for this game, and maybe the Cardinals, with Kevin Cobb playing with a chip on his shoulder as their starter, decides he wants to prove to all of Philadelphia exactly what they're missing.
All right, there you have it. It's your Monday morning report from Don Best on the NFL. Monday night football game one more time. Falcons are 3-point favorites. Total on the game, we'll call the consensus 52.5. Keep it right here all week long at donbest.com. We've got you geared up and ready to go for week 3 of the NFL.